If you are broke, I do not think that you should start a dropshipping business. I do not think you should start a copywriting business or a social media marketing agency or Amazon FBA or literally any of those most common internet marketing businesses. I genuinely believe that the quickest way for you to start actually putting more money into your bank account is going to be by buying used iPhones on Facebook Marketplace and reselling them for a profit on eBay. I will admit it is a bit boring and it does require you to actually leave your house. So you're probably not going to be on a beach in Bali living as a digital nomad anytime soon, but it is a realistic business that just fundamentally makes sense in how it works and can actually get you putting more money into your bank account. I want to be real clear here. I'm not going to be selling you anything in this video. My goal here is actually just to hopefully get someone to not spend thousands of dollars on some random course on the internet and get you doing something that's actually going to make you some money. So for anyone who might be new here, I do just quickly want to explain how this business works. And then I'm gonna go over why I think it is a much better option for beginners to get started than a lot of other common side hustles. So the used iPhone market is a multi-billion-dollar industry that is growing substantially year over year. And every single day, people are buying and selling used iPhones. Sure, that's no surprise. Here's where you come in as a reseller. If you could learn how to correctly value a phone and what the market values for different used phones are, and you check Marketplace consistently enough that you are there when a good deal is posted for a used phone, you can very consistently get great deals for used iPhones on local platforms like Facebook Marketplace. And then you could sell those for a profit, either by listing them on eBay where they sell for a premium because people are willing to pay more for a phone if it is simple and gets shipped directly to their house like it does on a platform like eBay. Or if you want to make it really simple, there's even wholesale buyers who will buy your stock instantly because they can make a profit by exporting the phones overseas where they can sell them for a premium even above what they're paying you for the phones. As far as how much money you can make doing this, on the low end, you can usually make at least $80 profit on a flip, and you can very regularly get single flips that make you $150 profit or more. Just for context, the average profit in my community is like $120 US or more. And that's just for a single flip. Obviously, if you're doing this, you're flipping a lot more than one phone. You could pretty much do this with any model iPhone in any condition, including broken phones. And believe it or not, you don't actually even need to know how to repair the phones because the market is big enough that you could make the same amount of profit selling them as is to a buyer who's willing to repair the phone themselves. So if you need to see that this works, there's obviously plenty of videos on this channel where I actually show myself flipping phones and have receipts for like everything in the transaction if you need to see that. And I did actually just start a brand new Instagram where my friend Mike is going to be posting all of his flips. He shares screenshots of what he bought the phones for, as well as a screenshot of what it sold for. He's posting his flips almost daily on that account. So I'll have that linked in the description if you want to see what it actually looks like to flip phones. All right, so I want to be very clear here. I am not saying that any of those other businesses don't work. You absolutely can make great money doing pretty much any of those businesses. And if you've already started actually making profit from any of the businesses I mentioned earlier, then this video is not for you. Keep going, keep crushing it. Do your thing. But if you are broke and you need to start actually putting more money into your bank account, then I think you should at least hear me out on this. So here's the thing with a lot of these other business models. Most of them aren't as beginner friendly as they are made to seem. What a lot of these gurus online tend to just highly underestimate is the gap in skill between being a complete beginner in any of these businesses and actually being able to start making any money from any of them is a lot bigger than they make it seem. What a lot of people don't factor in is even if it technically costs you nothing up front to get started with one of these businesses, there is absolutely a cost to the amount of time that it takes to develop the skills and the experience required to actually start making any money. Which in my opinion, if you're broke, you probably don't have that time. So let's take making a social media marketing agency, for example. Hypothetically, you definitely could sign up a social media marketing client for $3,000, $5,000, even $10,000 a month with no experience and not having to spend any money to get that client. And I'm sure that has happened at some point, but I'd imagine that's extremely unlikely. And even if someone with no experience in social media marketing did somehow manage to sign a client right away, the likelihood that as a beginner, anyone has the skill to actually give that customer a good client experience enough that they're actually willing to stay as a client and keep paying you is extremely unlikely. So I say all of this as someone whose DMs are absolutely flooded with messages from growth operators and people who want to manage my social media and pretty much every service you could possibly imagine. It is not as easy to convince someone to give you thousands of dollars every single month to manage their social media as any of these people make it seem. I don't know why this is, but a lot of people seem to really downplay the intelligence of the business owners that you would be selling your services to, regardless of what the service you're trying to offer is. As though for some reason, the type of person who has built a business successful enough that they have the extra money to invest in someone to do their social media is not smart enough to know that within 5 minutes of getting on a phone call with you, they have absolutely no experience and no idea what you're talking about. Again, that doesn't mean that you can't work for free and spend a few months building some free client testimonials and actually get a social media marketing client and actually build up a business. That can happen if you invest the time in any of this stuff. It absolutely can work, but I would venture to guess that if you are actually broke, you probably can't afford to spend 3 months plus doing work completely free to build a portfolio. And more than likely, what's probably gonna happen is you're gonna get on like 3 phone calls, you're gonna get rejected from people because you don't know what you're doing, which is fine because you're a beginner, but that's the reality of it. And then you're probably just gonna give up and start searching for your next side hustle. This theme tends to be pretty consistent across the board for a lot of these internet-based make money online type side hustles. If you try copywriting, it's gonna be the same thing. You're gonna have to learn how to write good copy and how to actually sell a client on those services, which is a skill that is gonna take time to build. Again, very doable, not denying it, but it is going to take a bit to put actual money into your bank account. And the same goes for the e-com ones as well. With drop shipping, you're gonna have to test products, you're gonna have to spend money on ads. And if you've actually tried drop shipping, you're probably aware that finding a winning product is not quite as easy as people make it seem. Obviously, with Amazon FBA, it's gonna be the same idea as well. Across the board, with all these beginner-friendly business models where you're supposed to be able to make money without any upfront cost, there's almost always some sort of secret sauce that you need to figure out to actually make the side hustle get started, which usually is either winning a lottery ticket and it very rarely actually works, or it takes months, if not years, of actually putting in time to build the skills it takes to figure out what that secret sauce is. So what makes reselling iPhones any different? For starters, it has all the advantages of the other businesses I mentioned. You can get started with a very small amount of startup capital. I know that doesn't seem realistic, but there's so many model iPhones and the market is so big that there is a lot of phones that you can buy and resell that are less than $100. So you don't need much startup capital at all to get started and buy your first phone that you can flip. And then obviously you could just reinvest the money from that first flip into other ones and scale it over time. But to actually start making more money, you're looking at a very small initial investment. Obviously, same as the other ones, there's virtually no overhead costs to actually do it. eBay is free. You don't need employees. You don't need an office. You can do it from your home. You literally just need enough money to buy your first phone and you can scale from there. And yes, I know it doesn't sound that scalable, but there is the same opportunity for scale as a lot of these other businesses. If you don't believe me, I actually have a series on this channel where I take $100 and turn that into $10,000 in a little bit over a month. It's all documented on this channel. Admittedly, it is pretty unlikely that you're gonna get to that level of income as a complete beginner because learning how to source that many phones is going to take some time. What makes starting a reselling business like this different, in my opinion, is how much smaller the gap is between knowing absolutely nothing about the business and being able to actually buy and resell a phone for a profit. You can literally watch this video and like one more video on this channel and pretty much know everything that you need to know to profitably buy a phone literally today. And yes, if you wanna make $10,000, that's gonna be 3 phones a day for a full month, and that's gonna be a good amount of work, and it might take a bit of work to get there. But if you wanna make like an extra $500 to $1,000 a week, that is extremely attainable, and you're looking at like 3 phones a week to make $500 extra a week, which in my opinion, an extra $500 to $1,000 a week if you are broke is absolutely life-changing for most people. The key difference here is there's absolutely no secret sauce. You're not going to need to learn a complex skill like in copywriting or SMMA. And Apple has actually already spent billions of dollars to create a market full of people ready to buy used iPhones on eBay. So there's no testing products, there's no testing ads to figure out what works. All that's already taken care of for you. Literally all you need to do is learn how to be able to buy a phone for below market value and then sell that phone for more. And when it comes to scaling this business, that literally just means you need to learn how to buy more phones for below market value and sell more phones for a profit. That's it. That being said, watch this video right here if you want to learn exactly how you can flip literally any iPhone profitably step by step.